Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to The Next Level, conversations that propel business. I'm your host, Bob Gibbons.
And I'm your host, Stephen Nooner, and I'm really excited to introduce Mike Rose today. Mike Rose is the founder and CEO of Mojo Media Labs, an inbound marketing agency based in Irving, Texas. Mojo Media Labs has been in business since 2007 and currently employs 12 people. To learn more about Mike or Mojo Media Labs, please visit mojomedialabs.com. Welcome, Mike.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
How do you spell Mojo, Stephen?
Well, it's M-O-J-O. And you like to make fun of me, but I was actually spelling bee champion. It's
I don't believe
Microsoft
that.
Word that's destroyed my ability to, hey.
I thought you
I'll bring
spell
a
like
picture,
you text.
and you'll have to watch Karate Kid when I prove it to you.
All right, I'll put you on a spelling bee. All right, so one of the things we like to start with, Mike, is just what we call wisdom from others, which is quotes that we find that we think are great and then we can learn from. So today I liked your quote best, which is from Dory. Tell us who Dory is first.
It's a pretty sophisticated quote, right?
It is. In person.
Out of the famous movie Nemo, Just Keep Swimming.
Yeah, the blue fish. Ellen DeGeneres did the voice for that. So just keep swimming. So why do you like that quote?
You know, I love that quote just because it just personifies persistence. And, you know, whether you're building a company or you're building your career, it just takes persistence. And you're going to go through up days and down days. But in those down days, you know, I think what keeps persistence going is our passion. So long as we're doing what we do every day is aligned to our passion, then it helps persistence. And if you hang in there long enough, you'll be able to accomplish anything you want.
I really like the quote and the analogy of the swimming part too, tied to entrepreneurship, because sometimes you can feel like you're drowning and you do just got to keep on swimming.
Well, you know, it's funny because in college, I took a WSI, which is water safety instructor class, which, you know, that's to teach swimming. And we had to swim a mile a day. And I just was so sick at the bottom of that pool, looking at the bottom of that pool. But what was funny is the first time I did it, it took me like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And all the guys, you know, we were trying to do it fast, and we have to stop and rest. And there was one woman who would do it slowly, up and back every time. She got it done like 45 minutes. Yeah. And she just kicked all of our butts terribly. It was, you know, slow and steady.
Just like golf.
Just like golf.
Well, so we always ask our guests for something unusual about yourselves, and so tell something that maybe not everybody else knows.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I'll share with you is that I have a degree in biochemistry, and I graduated from Texas Wesleyan University back in the day.
And what was your plan with that?
My plan was to go to medical school, honestly, and I was pre-med, but I wanted biochemistry, something to fall back on, that I could do something else beyond just maybe biology and or chemistry.
Right.
So majored in biochemistry and just love it. Love the science. I love research, and decided at the last minute after taking the MCATs to not go to medical school, but to go into research at Alcon Laboratories in Fort Worth. So I was in the research and development department there in an area called drug delivery. That does not mean we deliver drugs to people. But
what you got on you?
We actually...
Settle down, Bob. Settle down.
Yep, we'll talk about that later. But we actually delivered drugs across the cornea, the front part of the eye. So it was fascinating research. Really enjoyed it. I love the analytical side. I love the science side.
Yeah.
But then the E gene kicked in a couple years later, as I like to say, or the entrepreneurial gene. And that's when I started my business.
Now, wait a minute. I also understand you went to law school for a brief moment in time?
I thought thought that after my medical school idea, when I went to Elcon, I was working in the lab and befriended some attorneys who were intellectual property attorneys. And so that's usually the route you go if you have a science degree and want to get into law. And I love the patents and the trademarks and the copyrights. So decided to go to Wesleyan Law. Went first year law, learned tremendous amount of knowledge, and with that was able to decide that I really kind of wanted to go into the mark or the branding type business, and that's when I started the business in '97.
Interesting. Well, let's jump into the business then. So Mojo Media Labs is the name of the company, but that's not where you started.
It's not what I started. The company that I started was anything but that. It's still around today, however. But in 2007, 10 years after starting my first business, I personally started to get a little bit bored, a little bit complacent. I started to lose my passion, and I didn't understand why, because the business was doing well. So the business is going well, and I'm losing my passion. So I knew something had to change. So I just found that I wasn't necessarily passionate for that business as much as I was when I started it. So we grew another business out of that business called Mojo Media Labs, which is now today an inbound marketing agency. We're platinum level partners with HubSpot, which is an automated sales and marketing software. And today, I'm able to use both my right and left side of the brain, both creative and the analytical side, like back in the lab, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, that is exciting. So you heard, I guess, you've noticed what was going on in your own world regarding your level of excitement, and then I guess you were hearing pains from your clients, and that's what you said, hey, I am excited about this, and that's how it came about? Or
Sure. It actually was a moment. The moment was we decided to bid on rebranding a business. It was a bank in Southlake, and we were one of 15 agencies that was selected to rebrand this bank.
Wow.
And we pitched the logo to the board of directors in '07, and it was incredibly successful. And what I found is that by presenting the board their logo, their new brand, their new kind of vision as to what they wanted to be, my other company was selling essentially print and promotional products. So by saying, hey, here's your great brand, and oh, by the way, do you want coffee cups with that? Kind of devalued both, not to making you feel kind of silly at the same time.
Wasn't quite the upsell you really wanted.
Yeah, so we had a little brand confusion going on. So we split the brands up between Marketing Candy and Mojo Media Labs, and Mojo went the service route, and Marketing Candy went the product, continued going down the product route. So as soon as we kind of clarified that brand confusion, Mojo took off and has evolved to where it is today.
And so just for the audience that maybe doesn't know what inbound marketing is, so to share that.
You bet. Inbound marketing is a way to drive prospects, visitors, potential customers to your website using a magnet, not trying to attract them with a megaphone. So technology is completely changing the way we market and sell, quite frankly. And just like technology is changing the way we watch TV and read the newspaper and now get from A to B, taxi via Uber, etc., technology is driving the way we business develop. And that said, that technology is really kind of coming into how we attract customers to our website. So inbound marketing is using an approach that attracts people opposed to yelling at them to say, come see and listen to me. And one of the ways we do that is producing remarkable content on websites that people will actually come and educate themselves wherever they are in the buyer's journey.
So does that content need to be constantly changing on a website instead of the old-time static website, which is really just an electronic brochure? Is that sort of passé?
Great question. That's the difference between dynamic and contextual content. Dynamic versus static content. Dynamic content is changing. The website, your website should get smarter, faster, stronger, more knowledgeable as it continues to evolve. Your buyer's journey evolves, your buyers evolve, and your website should evolve with it. Static sites is where you launch a site, you get bored with it for about 6 months, you go through a 3-month capital expense, and then you renew it, and you go again, and you go through these long stair-step approaches. The dynamic approach really should be something you're building your website every day, and it's getting stronger and smarter every day, servicing the needs of wherever your clients are and prospects are in the buyer's journey, to where you're constantly adding to it. And that's good for the buyer, but it's also good for the robot too. It's good for the algorithms of the search engines to say that you have a authoritative, a credible website that's continuing to evolve as time goes by.
And that's where like a tool like HubSpot comes in. It's like, so you have a service to help people get the full return on investment, I guess, from a tool or technology like that.
Yep.
Because you said that was like an automation tool. And
Sure. Yeah, HubSpot's evolved over the years too. There are about, last check, 3,000 HubSpot partners in the world. We're very proud to be a platinum partner.
That's
or
awesome.
One of the 30 in the world that are platinum. So, we're in a kind of an interesting little group of other agencies that are delivering what HubSpot provides. And HubSpot's just a tool, just like Salesforce is just a tool.
Yeah.
But it's how you really use the tool and the creativity and the value you pull out of it, leveraging all of those features. We've built a team of 5 people on a client account that are designed, are trained and inspired and motivated every day to not just work within the tool, but to deliver this growth-driven design concept to every website.
It's kind of to me, it's the difference between having a scalpel in the hands of a murderer or a surgeon, right? And a trained surgeon, you're going to get a lot more value from that.
So are you calling Mike a murderer or
I'm
a
saying a surgeon. A surgeon.
It depends what day.
Yeah, you're so funny. Yeah.
So on the content that's changing on the website, is that just a matter of like integrating your blog into the website, or is it far more than that?
Sure. Content should, first of all, be designed and built around a pane. So we have, if you come over to our offices in Las Colinas, you'll see campaign around our office a lot. And we spell campaign CAMPAIN because campaign should be aligned.
I made the sign.
There you go, right? Maybe that's the surgeon part, the pain part. But the pains should be aligned to the buyer. So every buyer has different pains. My pain not be exactly what is aligned to your product or service, but a pain might be aligned to something else that you can provide. So if you're creating a compelling story or content around pains, then it becomes a lot more relevant.
Talk to I'm noticing a trend where you talked about the megaphone approach of kind of the old marketing. It seems like more and more people are gravitating towards authenticity, and the megaphone approach almost seems to be the turnoff now. Is that kind of what's driving this whole movement?
That's a great comment, and that's actually taken us through the buyer's journeys in 3 stages: awareness, consideration, and decision. So awareness is where we educate people with great and remarkable content. We don't sell, but we educate. 63% of the buyer has already made their decision before even talking to a salesperson. So with that statistic,
Wow.
we have to educate people up front. So with your point on credibility and authority, by using content in the middle of the funnel or the consideration phase, your business is being considered sometimes against business B, C, and D. So if you appear more credible and authoritative and you've taken them down this journey, having educated them, you're helping them make their decision when they get to the decision phase, because most likely 63% of that decision has already been established before talking to a salesperson, which is the last stage of the funnel.
Interesting. I know I've received, in fact, my biggest client ever still came from somebody that found me on the internet.
That's great.
And it was interesting because they also found their attorney on the internet. And almost all the services they ever got, they found on the internet. Well, they were young. One of the brothers was maybe 30 and the other one was maybe 25. And so that's where their comfort zone was. And everybody they deal with.
Well, how many times are you standing in the retail aisle researching on your phone and not talking to a salesperson? 83% of people will search on their phone via mobile before they talk to a salesperson. They're looking to educate themselves and make a good decision.
Well, and I like referrals, but I always go to the internet to check out the referral too. There you go.
And that includes not just your website, but your LinkedIn profiles as well.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to a break, but before we do, what would cause a busy entrepreneur to write a book? Stick around.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: knowledge is power. We all negotiate from a position of power and strength, or at least we want to. In any negotiation, the party with the most knowledge probably has the upper hand. And landlords count on this being the case whenever you're negotiating a lease, because most landlords are professional real estate investors and they hire professional leasing agents and property managers. Landlords are in the market every day negotiating leases, while tenants probably only negotiate one, maybe two leases every few years. So tenants feel outgunned. Don't let landlords have all the power. As a former landlord for 20 years, I understand how landlords think and what motivates them. So let me put that knowledge and experience to work on your side of the negotiation. To learn more, contact me at texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Have you started making plans to take your business to the next level in 2016? Hi, I'm Steven Nooner, founder and CEO of Alkali. We have a trademark process called the Empowered Advantage that enables CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs to more effectively buy and manage their insurance. Before sitting down to make your plans for the new year, here are just a few things to consider. Would you say that you have an actual insurance strategy, one that you can articulate, or have you just purchased a policy here and there over the years? If you have an insurance strategy, was it discussed under the pressure of a renewal deadline or considered earlier in the year to avoid fire drill decision making? If your answer was no to either of these questions, then you may not have the right partner on your team. Visit alkaliservices.com to contact us and take the next step to a bigger and better future.
Hi, this is Jonathan Van, COO of Technium. We love working with serial entrepreneurs to find and license new technologies. Hopefully these guys will be people we work with in the next 3 years. If not, what a bust.
Welcome back. We're here at the next level, conversations that propel business with our guest, Mike Rose. Mike is the CEO of Mojo Media Labs, and you can find him online at mojomedialabs.com.
Mike, sounds like a lot of really exciting stuff's happened in your business. Congratulations for all of that. Let's talk about pain, though. So what's the biggest challenge with a business like yours right now?
Yeah, right now I think the biggest challenge that we're facing is because unemployment is dropping. Talent is becoming more scarce,
Especially here in Dallas.
And there's a deep talent pool in Dallas. That's why we moved our office to Las Colinas, so we can be kind of in the center of everything for the most part. But yeah, talent acquisition is really, really important to us. We've all heard the adage, getting the right person in the right seat. And, getting the right seat means being uniquely qualified to do the job. And sometimes just having the skill to do the job isn't enough. Mm-hmm. We really push for the right person too. So the right person is somebody who possesses our core values. Mm-hmm. We have 6 core values at Mojo. We put them on our website. We have them on the application page to say, if you have these values, we'd love to talk to you. If not, maybe you're suited for someplace else.
Do you give them the name of a competitor they can go to?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Redirect them. But the 6 core values is the right person. And what happened as soon as we put our core values on our website, started blogging and talking about our culture and our core values, we get dozens and dozens of applications every week wanting to say, I'd be interested in working at Mojo Media Labs. And that's pretty special. And so with that, having the right person who is also uniquely qualified to fill that role with the unique responsibilities that we assign to that role is pretty special.
So a lot of people that I know, a lot of companies are moving to Uptown mm-hmm. to try and get to the millennial workforce. But you're in Las Colinas. Has that not really been any problem?
Well, there's a lot of exciting things happening in Las Colinas right now. In the intersection of O'Connor and Las Colinas Boulevard, which is where our office is, there's a lot of happenings. One is an outdoor amphitheater, a comedy club. There's dozens of restaurants coming in to the area. So I would like to say that Las Colinas Urban Center specifically is going to be the new Uptown. And with these millennials of 20 to 35 and our average age in the company is about early 30s, is exciting. I think we're positioning ourselves for growth, not just today, having been there for 5 years, but also over the next 5 years.
And it's a lot less expensive than being in Uptown for rent.
I don't know about that. I would like to think so. It was 5 years ago, but now it's getting pretty competitive. But I think we're doing a good job at trying to negotiate.
When you talked about you were talking about the talent pool itself, and one of the things that we found for us to have the right people, it's really important. I imagine a lot like your business, and we have to manage that pipeline almost, because we're growing, almost as hard. We'll probably pay almost more attention to it than what's in our sales pipeline.
That's so well said. And we look at the people pipeline just like we look at the customer pipeline or the prospect pipeline. As a matter of fact, we take people through the same kind of pipeline stages to recruit them. which we've built: identify, recruit, retain, reward, and unfortunately sometimes remove if you've brought somebody on that doesn't share your core values or can't perform. So that said, we spend a lot of time, or I like to think that we spend a lot of time, and we'll get better at building the Learn Lab, where when somebody does come on and they're the right person but may not have that skill, that we can invest in them. What we determined, the first three letters of skill, is ski. So we have ski themes. So we have Team Breckenridge, Team Vale. We hope to add Team Copper Mountain and Keystone later this year.
I'll be on any of those you want.
and each skill level is it's interesting because your skill level is either at a bunny, a green, blue, or black. So we aspire to have everyone internally be skiing double black diamonds in their skill level, because one of our core values is ridiculous results. And ridiculous results are not the results we produce for our clients, but ridiculous results is pushing each other to deliver another core value, which is personal and professional development. So ultimately, that's all about just working with awesome people every day.
Cool. So from the client's perspective, or people that are listening to this, what are sort of the top three things that they can do for their inbound marketing?
Sure. Wow. Yeah, it starts with the website. I really believe the website should be one of your biggest assets of your company, not just this capital expense that sits down on the expense side of your P&L. I think it should be raised up to where the revenue side is of your P&L, where all the sales sit, right? So that said, to turn this capital expense into a moneymaker or a revenue generator takes effort and it takes time. It doesn't happen like it takes building a new website in 30, 60, 90 days. It takes time, sometimes years. We'll inherit a website that might have a grade of a D or an F. That's going to take a lot longer than if we had inherited a website at an A or a B. But that said, there's three things I would share. One is really mapping out your buyers' journeys of the process and the decision-making they go through to select you as their potential supplier, product or service. The second thing is easy to say but difficult to do, and it takes a long time to do this, but it can be done, and that is integrating sales and marketing. We joke and call it smarketing because should be kind of aligned. There shouldn't be these two departments that don't get along. They should be two departments that are very well integrated, because marketing can handle awareness and consideration phase, and sales can handle the decision phase. So the more marketing and sales works together, the higher the sales overall, the higher the revenue of the company. And the third thing, as I mentioned earlier, is designing campaigns, and that is specifically pains aligned to that buyer's journey. When you put those three things together, and then you can automate as much as you can, and then you can have the right team executing on that plan, it's pretty special what can happen.
Who's your typical client for a service like this?
Yeah, that's a good question too. We're not a good fit for everybody, and we learned that evolving Mojo over time.
Sure.
We were the shop one day that said yes to everything. Can you? Yes, we can. And
usually
that's
when
good.
you're starving,
Yeah. Or you're not focused.
Yeah.
And startups definitely do that, but even more mature companies have a tendency to say yes to everything. And we've, I think, got good at saying no. Protecting our yeses and reserving our right to say no was my New Year's resolution 2 years ago. And that has created a focus, I think. So we're not a good fit for everybody. That said, we're looking for companies who are a good fit for us as well as we're a good fit for them. And it's generally, 10 million or more. They at least have a sales department or customer service. We like having internal marketing folks. That's important. We can be the marketing department. But content is such a big thing that it involves everybody in the organization. So having those internal folks facilitating content development is really important.
Get the brand voice right, stuff like that.
Precisely, right? Yeah. Someone who can traffic and champion the content engine and feed that on a monthly basis. We like to say that websites are monthly magazines that need to be produced, not just a book you produce once and you move on, but they're monthly magazines. Some websites are daily newspapers that need constant feeding. So that takes a team, not just Mojo and not just the client, but the client and Mojo working together. So it does require resources on that side in an ideal scenario. But the three areas that we really found ourselves to be successful in is manufacturing, healthcare, and professional services.
So doctors, lawyers, attorneys?
Doctors, lawyers, attorneys, but people who really have packaged their business well.
Okay.
So general practitioner opposed to the LASIK eye surgeon.
Gotcha.
They package their business, and they generally have, if it's B2C, it's best if it's a high value B2C, but B2B and specifically complex B2B who has long sales cycles and higher dollar price tags is something that really works well for inbound marketing.
So let's pivot. We've talked about some of your titles: biochemist, almost lawyer, CEO, et cetera. But we can add author to that. And for those of our listeners that are actually watching the video of this on our website, nextlevelshow.com, you can see a picture of the book you've written. It's called ROE Powers ROI. So when did you write that? Why did you write that?
What is ROE?
ROE stands for return on energy. And I believe that where the intersection of time, money, and effort, if you can envision a Venn diagram where there's an equal distribution of time, money, and effort, in the middle of that is ROE, return on energy. And in 2007, when I'm going through a lot of personal struggles, a lot of personal pain, not knowing where I wanted to go as an entrepreneur, as a business, I didn't understand why my passion was waning. And I probably am not a natural leader. As a matter of fact, I'll say I'm not a natural leader or manager for that part. I needed a methodology to really help me communicate and align myself with people who are much better at doing what they do than if I were to do it myself. So return on energy kind of has evolved over time into really 3 ways of thinking. And as an entrepreneur, we run this mental triathlon every single day. Should I be in vision mode? Should I be looking 5 years, 10 years down the road? My passion is the highest when I'm thinking in the vision state, or what I call the way 1. The way 2 state is the strategist. It's the planner. It's the person who thinks 1 year in advance. And every entrepreneur will tell you that they're most likely really good at planning. But the Small Business Administration will tell you that businesses fail to the tune of 80% in the first 5 years due to the lack of planning, not due to the lack of ideas. And then there's the way 3. Your way 3 mind will tell you that it's action. We got to get to work. It's doing. It's tactics. But when you have the way 1, 2, and 3, or vision, strategy, tactics aligned, or you can organize your leadership team or management team or your company in these 3 ways of thought, it's pretty special what can happen. So this is more, I think, a methodology for myself than anybody else. I never intended to write a book. I have to thank my wife for pushing me to do that.
Good for her.
But it's been pretty special, and it's my personal passion to deliver ROE, or return on energy, to people to help them out in their careers or businesses.
So if somebody wants one, where do they go?
You can go to Amazon. Go to Amazon and keyword ROE, or search ROE Powers ROI, the title of the book, and it's there.
Okay, great. So you do public speaking, seminars, all that kind of stuff as well, right?
Yeah, I love speaking. I love public speaking, and specifically when I'm talking about Mojo and return on energy. And we've been able to. We like sometimes to say that Mojo is powered by ROE, and it's really kind of our secret sauce. Our competitors can replicate everything in our company except for our people, and the time and energy and effort we put into developing talent. Having double black diamond skiers and all their responsibilities, and that's pretty special. So
that is.
With that, I think that's kind of our secret sauce.
So if we were sitting together 3 years from now and we were to look back to today, what needs to happen in your life, personally, professionally, for you to feel satisfied with the progress you've made?
Boy, that's a big question. In 3 years from today, I hope that there's 2 things that I'm really focusing on, and I see that not just this year, but next and the following year, and that is team member. I don't like the word employee. Team member experience and client experience. I hope that people, when they see the Mojo brand, whether it's on their resume or on their books, that they're proud of that, and they know that that's continuing to deliver value to them personally in their career set, or to their business and their revenues.
Well, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you.
Mike. We really appreciate you being here. For the listeners, please go to Mojo Media Labs to learn more about Mike. He has lots of great content there, free stuff. Go there, check it out.
And if you heard something today that maybe another entrepreneur or a friend or someone needs to hear, please help spread the word. You can find us at nextlevelshow.com. And you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the others. So have a great week.
See you next week with another great guest.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.